Shalom everybody, this is s.a.t.a.n.s Breen, and I am the video editor, the audio editor, the everything editor, editor-in-chief, wearing all hats for artisticministry.net, and thank you for joining me for another commentary inside the crosshairs. This is going to be a commentary on a video that was done by a targeted individual sometime around the end of June, and she asked that this video that it be given to or brought to the attention of all TIs. She wants our input, an answer to some of her questions, and so instead of just leaving a comment in the comment section, I decided that I'm going to do a commentary on it and include it in this commentary inside the crosshairs, which is one of the playlists that I'm doing for my channel. And this is basically, given the context, the nature of what she's talking about, this is something that is definitely warrants. I'm pretty sure that it's will definitely put me in crosshairs for many people. I notice that sometimes when the witch stalking, gang stalking will be amped up, and then sometimes it kind of lulls, but then it goes up. It depends on how much content I'm making for one of my channels, and also sometimes the nature of the content as well. But this one I'm sure will probably ruffle a few feathers. But for the sake of this TI's just protection and anonymity, I'm going to play the audio clip, and I'm going to kind of like modulate the voice just to give her some privacy, so that she doesn't have to worry about people tracking her down and doing whatever, creating any problems for her. And also because she tends to in a few parts go off on some tangents, just expressing her feelings about different topics that come up in the course of her video. I have edited some of those out just for our time's sake, just to keep it as short as possible. I still try, that is my goal, as hard as it is. Again, as I used to say in the podcast, one of my titles is Mouth Almighty, Words Everlasting. So if she's going off on tangents and I tend to go off on tangents, this is going to be a very long commentary, and we don't want it to be that way, right? Right. Okay. So let's see. Again, always just to make sure that you're aware that where I live, that it is the walls are paper thin, and at any given time during this presentation you might hear thumping, banging, loud voices. It's just different people that are in the units, either on either side of me or above me or below me, but the walls are paper thin. And I live in an area where there's, as I like to describe us, we are colorful everyday people, and so there's at any time a car might whiz by with like the radio blaring, or they might pull up, or just the car engine or the motorcycle revving or something like that. And also I live down the street and around the corner from a fire station, so that also can generate a lot of just noise, sirens and such coming and going. And at the other end of the block is a construction site, and it's pretty active this morning, so there's liable to be loudspeakers, and again just the sounds that go on in a construction site, and I apologize for that. And let's see what else. I think that's it. I know sometimes when I talk, when I'm doing this, I tend to get nervous, and my voice gets dry and scratchy, and so I start to clear my throat. Just some of the phlegm gets back to me, I start to clear my throat, and I know that can be a trigger for some TIs, just because of the depending on what I know sometimes they'll come up and they'll whistle. The different perpetrators, witch stalkers, will come up and whistle, or they'll cough, or clear their throat in some aggressive, pointed way directed at us, and so I know it can be a trigger, but I apologize in advance. And without further ado, let's just go into the audio clip from this TI. Okay.
I'm asking you to direct any targeted individuals on my channel, because I want you to listen to what I have to tell you tonight. Okay, all of us targeted individuals. Okay, we have been taken by Satan. Okay, Satan has a hold of us. Satan stands for silent assassination through active neutral networks. Satan. Silent assassination through active neutral networks. And as we know, Satan is the prince of the air, right? Okay, so they're using the networks in the air, the satellites, the cell phone towers, and they're using the Earth's frequency. They're doing everything, and this is a supercomputer, they say, okay, that we're all hooked into, because there's no way in hell a human being could program or plan, everybody meeting us at these different spots wherever we show up. That'd be impossible for any type of human to keep up with that. So you definitely know, it's a supercomputer. But I heard like 10 years ago, somebody said, you're going to find out that Satan is going to be some supercomputer in the sky that's been running this popsicle stand. And sure shit, they're right. I found out Satan. S, silent. A, assassination. T, through. A, active. N, neutral networks. Silent, assassination, silent. Assassination through active neutral networks. Alright, you guys, so now that you know, now that I know, that Satan has got his grip on us, what do we do? Okay, those who are awake, religion isn't going to help us, okay? We could pray every day, I don't believe in different religions. I don't like different religions because they cause hate, they cause wars, it causes death, people kill each other. I don't like that. So anyways, now that I've discovered we all have been taken by Satan, how are we going to get out of it, guys? Help me with this, you guys. I want to hear everything you've got to say. Any of your friends, I want to hear what they've got to say. Good, bad, or different, okay? So again, guys, send everybody to me so I can get everybody's comments, because I want to help, guys, okay? There's got to be a better life, full of love, full of happiness someplace, and I want it. And I'm sure you guys do too. Okay, I love all of you. You all have a good night. I hope to hear from you. Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay, so there you have it. She feels that all TIs are in the grip of a supercomputer, what she calls, using the acronym for Satan, silent assassination through, so I just forgot it, through anonymous neural networking, neutral networking, but that's the, I might have said it wrong and I apologize for that, but that's what she thinks, and she's asked us, what do we do? How do we get out of this? And if you listen all the way through to the end, if you listened all the way through to the end of her video, at the end you can hear just the frustration and the despair. She says that she wants out. She doesn't want to do this anymore. And parts of the video that I had, just again for time's sake, that I had edited out, she speaks of having a lot of her personal belongings stolen, about the different workplace mobbing that she has been through, and I might put a link to her video in the description box. I wasn't sure. I was reluctant to do that because I don't want to set her up for any type of problems or anything, but she like a lot of us, this gets overwhelming, and I know that is, in terms of the protocols that they are using against us, that is one of the intended consequences, is to break us down to the point where we are just reduced to being alcoholics, being addicts. We are reduced to some form of mental illness, paranoia, schizophrenia, borderline, some type of a neurotic, or just some type of a mental illness is what is intended, depending on who we are. And we know that they individualize and do their investigations thoroughly into our background as they are developing their protocols, and so it varies from person to person. Some of us, maybe the intention is to break us down to the point where we commit suicide. Some of us, depending on our background, maybe they're hoping that we will snap and decide to take matters into our own hands and attack someone who maybe we think is one of our perpetrators and end up in jail for felony assault or mayhem or something, or actually commit murder and end up in jail for murder, or get away with the murder and then have to live with the weight of that. Maybe for some of us the intention is just to break us down so that we give in and we join them. We cross to the side of we turn to the dark side, and we end up with Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers. Maybe that's the intention. I mean, it depends on the person. It varies. Some of this is the result of intergenerational pacts that were made on evil altars by family members who sold us out to altars so that they could get business contracts, so that they could maybe, depending on who we are, what culture we come from, maybe in order to even get passages come over here to the quote-unquote Americas, or maybe as a result of someone who ended up on a slave ship and in a situation in the backwaters of Mississippi or Texas or somewhere, and made some pacts with some altars and some demons, and now having sold out a future generation, their descendancy, it landed on us. This could be depending on who you are. Maybe you are the family member of someone who was involved in one of these, as they call them, those alphabet boys. Maybe you have an uncle, an aunt, someone who was in the FBI, the CIA, the ATF, the this, that, and the other, and they pissed somebody off. They didn't follow through on what they were supposed to do, and their family is forfeit, and somebody gets targeted and tormented and put through all kinds of spirals and hoops in hell, and it just happens to be us. I mean, who knows? But the intention is to break us, to bring us to a point where we are, as you could hear in her voice, and how many of us have felt, where we just don't know what to do, where it just feels like this is just overwhelming. We don't even know, some of us, why it's even happening, and yet she had the wherewithal to ask, what do we do? Okay, she has been told that there is some super computer or whatever, which she's given, either someone told her that was the acronym, or she's decided that is the acronym, and is saying, Satan has all TIs in his grip. And I just, one of the first things that I wanted to make very clear is, no, he does not. No, it does not. If you want to refer to it as an entity, if you want to refer to it as a being, as a thing, as a machine, whichever way it is, be it a he or an it, no, it does not. I understand very clearly, as it says in the book of Job 9:24, that the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. In that regard, what she is saying is true. The earth is in the hands of the wicked. We know that they run not just one or two governments. They don't run just one or two corporations. They're not pulling the strings behind one or two religions. We know that all of this is what they do. This is how the wicked, how they run things. And we also know that it's a well-known quote. Many of us have heard it. How does it go? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist, which makes it possible for this entity, this negative vibration, this negative force, whatever you want to call it, to literally operate in the backgrounds. And people, depending on the culture and who they are and where they're at, don't even know that that's really what's going on. They're looking at it from politics. They're looking at it from maybe social issues. They're looking at it from a financial standpoint, or from this reason or that reason, and they don't see that's what's going on in the background. But we understand that really is what's happening, that the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. We know that when the adversary came and he tempted our Master and Savior, Yahushua, who the world mistakenly calls Jesus, we know one of the things that he said was that it says that he showed him all of the kingdoms of the world, and he said, all of these are mine, and I will give them to you. What if you just, even he was tempting him? He's the tempter. If you but just worship me. But he said all of these kingdoms. So in that regard, it's not just the targeted individual who is subjected to or possibly under subjugation of that. It's everybody on the planet. Okay, it's not just us. So in that regard, what she was saying, that feeling, putting that out there, yeah, that's true. But the key part in that verse that I just quoted, Job 9:24, the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. The key word is given. It was given. There was no war, and the wicked won and wrested it through some type of a conquest over the Most High, and just triumphantly through battle, through hard work and labor and fighting, won the earth. No. It was given. It was given to the wicked, and which is what is said in the book of Revelation when he was cast out of the heavens, that he would come down here and woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come unto you. And what does it say? And he knoweth his time is short. And that's why he is angry, because he has an allotted time. That means it's been given to him for a brief amount of time. You got this much time and this much time to do what you got to do, bruh. Let's see what you can do. You want to get some of these souls? You want to win some of them? Okay, here you go. Let's see what you can do. But we know that many of us who are TIs, we know, those of us who are Messianic believers, we know that we were given to the Messiah. We are a gift to the Messiah, and that is, if you read through in the book of Matthew, if you read through in the book of John, especially in the Schofield Study Bible, it talks about that, where the Messiah literally said that the only ones who can come to the Messiah and hear his words and believe it, and even where it makes sense, that it resonates within us, and we want to follow what he says because it makes sense, are the ones that were taught by Elohim. That's us. It makes sense to us because we've heard it before. It just makes sense to us. We are the ones that were given to the Messiah. And what does he say? Those who have been given to me, that he will not turn us away. He will not cast us out. So that changes what she's saying. And I just wanted to really put that out there. And I hope that she gets a chance to hear this. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that what this shows us, she says at one point that she really doesn't want to have anything to do with religion. Or, okay, wait a minute, let me make sure I get that right. She was basically saying that she has a problem with religions because they cause hate, and they people in religions, that they kill one another. And again, some of what she's saying is true. We know that those things have happened. There are parts of the world, different cultures, where religion has played a part in creating factions, historical factions that are, some of them are still going to this day. We know that there are, supposedly things are okay, but for centuries there was a lot of issues in Ireland, Northern Ireland, between the Irish Catholic and the Irish Protestant. There are, depending on where you're at in certain parts of Asia, there were issues between the Buddhist and the Hindi. We know that. It happens. So in that regard, she's right, but we know that in terms of what's really going on in terms of the body of the Messiah, where those different little conflicts go on between denominations, where you've got these Protestants and the Catholics and the Baptists and the Anabaptists and the this and the that. We know that what that is about really is what was said in the book of Jude, that you have men, certain men of old. Let me just turn to that real quick and quote that, because what it was meant to do is, we can see it manifested in what she was saying. This, where she doesn't want to have anything to do with quote-unquote religion because of all the hurt and the damage that it causes. And yet the body of Christ is where we were supposed to be able to go to get refuge from this fiery trial, that it would be a place of comfort, that it would be a source of knowledge and information where we could get weapons, spiritual weapons, and spiritual tools and instruments to help us deal with it. But we can't go there, depending on your internal makeup and what you are clued into as to what's happening in those churches. You can't go there, because it's not a source of support. It's not a refuge. It's not a place of knowledge and understanding. It's a place of deception. It's a place of where there's a lot of paganism that has been sifted and integrated secretly back into what was once the pure doctrine of the Messiah. But literally in Jude, what it says very clearly is verse 4: "For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation. Ungodly men, turning the grace of our Elohim into lasciviousness, and denying the only Master Elohim and our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, denying the only Master Yahuwah and our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, that was done on purpose. And what she's saying is right. That feeling is right. There are many of us who, in terms of religion, I speaking for myself, what she said, it made sense to me. And again, as I've mentioned before, one of the episodes, one of the new programs that I'm working on is called for the pulling down of strongholds, because what is happening in those churches, it has created a stronghold where it has kept people in there captive, deceived, and trapped behind these snares, behind these doctrines and these teachings and such that are just deadly and dangerous. And here you have someone who is in a place of despair, who's just in a place of frustration, and is feeling, we're all in the grips of Satan. We're all of our TIs are in the grip of this supercomputer, and blah 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 blah. And where are we gonna go? Can you tell me what can we do? What? Literally reaching out to other TIs, to the community, to try to get some answers. And one of the things she makes very clear is, but I don't want to, I'm religion, I've just seen too much, there's been a lot of hurt and doing a lot of damage to people. I don't want to have nothing to do with that. And yet that, not necessarily quote unquote religion, meaning a building with four walls, meaning some type of an organized denomination like that, but the scriptures, the spirituality, which is a living word, that is where she can get the answers to all of her questions. The good news of the Messiah is what she needs, but she's not, it sounds as if she's not willing to hear that because of what she has either experienced on a personal level, what she's heard happening in terms of quote unquote religion. But I'm putting this out there, and I hope that it reaches her that religion, I agree with you. Going up into a Baptist church, going up into a Jehovah's Witness church, or a Mormon church, or a Catholic church, or a Buddhist church, or Pentecostal church, or whatever, those places, those buildings with the four walls, that's not where you're going to get your answer. No, you're right. You're not going to get an answer there. That's where you are going to find some hurt. Some of us are victims of that, and we left there. I myself, I was what the expression would be, a pew baby. The pews. I was a pew baby. I was literally raised up in a church, and then things happened in that church, and my mother started going to another church. But it was the same thing, it was just another denomination. And yeah, there was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of just dissension. There's a lot of, and some of that is intentional. Again, as what the Apostle Jude is saying, that there were certain men who crept into these congregations, into the body of the Messiah, and they worked their ways in there, and some women too, and they got into positions of authority. They got into positions of influence, sometimes through money, sometimes through just their charisma, sometimes through, as we're now finding out, through their connections within these Masonic connections, these organizations. They've been able to get in there, and they slowly but surely begin to introduce and put back in a lot of the paganism. And we know one of the things that the Messiah said is that if you believe in doing these practices, these other deities, these other quote unquote Elohim, these other mighty ones, this is what's going to bring about wrath on you, as he made very clear in the Ten Commandments. He said, again, let me just turn to that. It's in the book of Exodus. He makes it very clear what we can expect as a result of that, and that has a lot to do with why some of us are having some of the problems that we are experiencing in our lives, and we don't know that. We don't necessarily trace it back to the breaking of the Ten Commandments, but one of the things that he said is that thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, meaning these deities, these images that are made for the worship of these fallen, depending on who they are, these demons, these Elohim, these mighty ones, these gods. But he said, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I Yahuwah thy Elohim am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. So that means some of what we're dealing with in this stuff has become perpetual, and it has overtaken us. It's overtaken our ancestors, and it is falling on us. And the idea that some of what we're dealing with, that some of this targeting is generational, and what we're dealing with is the result of having an ancestor who was putting up Christmas trees, who was worshiping Easter holidays, the idea that some of this is happening to us because of that sometimes for some people it doesn't make sense. They can't see that. That does not make any sense. And yet I'm telling you that is truth. So this is what this individual who put out this video, this is the type of message that she needs to hear. She needs to hear this book, the scriptures. This is the solution. This is what you need. This is going to help you resolve all of those problems, all of those questions that you have. But because of things that have happened, right, legitimately so. What she's saying, legitimately so. Going into these religions, the dissension that's there, the cruelty, the confusion, the arguing, the debating, this person believes this dogma, this person believes this principle, this teaching, and then they start going after one another. What she's saying is true, and that is a big turnoff. But what happens for many of us is we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We throw out the scriptures, we throw out the Messiah, we throw out His grace, His mercy with the bathwater, and then we find ourselves in a situation like many of us targeted individuals are in, where we're under severe persecution, where we are under something that literally, depending on what we might possibly lack in terms of intestinal fortitude, in terms of just the spiritual strength, we could find ourselves in dire situations, literally dealing with mental illness, literally dealing with addiction, literally trying to find some way to cope with this, and thinking that drinking is going to help us deal with it, because we don't know to turn to the scriptures. We don't, because when we associate scriptures with a quote unquote building with four walls, we want to reject that. And yet the answer is right there. Okay? And that's why I'm doing this commentary. And I know it's going to put me in the crosshairs for a lot of people, because what she said, she's not the only one. There are many of us who feel that this is something that should be dealt with in terms of politics. This is something that should be dealt with in terms of just the socialization that's going on, because we're dealing with workplace mobbing, because we're dealing with they're forcing many of us, marginalizing us in terms of workspace. Just it can be dealt with that. I'm not trying to refute that, but I think that at the core, the real solution to this problem is receiving the good news of the Messiah, is repenting of sins, clearing all that off of us, so that those demons that are on those altars, that come from those altars, and that cling to that and manifest in our lives, there's nothing there for them to cling to. Keeping the commandments, doing good works, getting an understanding, reading the scriptures, being able to incorporate them into our lives and apply them to our lives. That's what she needs. That's what she needs. When she literally said at the end, what can we do? Because I want out. She was saying that, and that's why I had to respond. And yet I know that that unfortunately this is something that she and many others don't want to hear, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to put it out anyways, because I have to. I don't have a choice. When you know this truth, when you have this good news, who can keep good news to themselves? Okay, who can? Who can literally have some good news and just keep your mouth shut and don't tell nobody about it? I guess it's possible. But why would you want to? But so yeah, and the other reason I'm doing this is the Messiah said very clearly, let me make sure, let me turn to that so that I can say that correctly, if I can find that. Paraphrasing it until I can actually find the verse. He said very clearly that if you do not confess me before men, I will not confess you before the Father. And I'm not trying to even go there. I'm not trying to deal with that. I need to have the Messiah. I need to have him confess me and mediate for me before my Heavenly Father. And so I have no choice in the matter. I have I have to confess him. So that's the paraphrased verse, and I'm not finding the actual verse, and I don't want to just find it one more time. But yeah, so that's the commentary that I wanted to just share, is when she was saying that we're all TIs are caught in the grip of Satan. I was like, excuse me? And then when she started explaining this whole artificial or supercomputer that is, and she gave the acronym for it, and just everything that she was saying, and how on a certain level what she is saying is true, that he is the prince of the power of the air, and that mass communication systems and so forth and so on, and the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. I mean, yeah, in that regard, what she's saying is true, but No, we know that the Most High is in control. We know that the Most High is the creator of heaven and earth, and He makes the call. He's the shot caller. Okay, He's the AK running this block, as literally as it says in Job 9:24, that the earth was given into His hands. He didn't take it. He didn't win it through a contest of might, through a war of battles, where He literally just came away victorious, where the Most High and His Messiah was defeated. That is not what happened. He was defeated. He was cast out, and the earth was given into His hands for a short time. That's it. That's why things are in the condition that they are in, but it is only for a short while. And that's the other part that I hope that if she doesn't hear this, but if someone is able to maybe leave that message in the commentary section on her video, that this is only for a short while. I mean, it's made very clear in the scripture, Psalm 32:10. Many sorrows shall be to the wicked. I mean, these people that are ruling and reigning right now, that have the ability, as she was sharing, to use the earth's frequency and use all this to create this super computer that's going to be doing all this, that, and the other, and this machine in CERN or whatever. I mean, these things that they are doing that are way beyond our intellectual, the average person's intellectual ability to understand, yet we're going to be affected by it and victimized by it and put in a situation that many TIs, what we are dealing with now, that it's going to be basically become the norm for the majority of people. It can seem like, what do? They've got control. They're winning. But just know, again, Psalm 32:10, many sorrows shall be to the wicked. And another one, Job 25, triumphing of the wicked is short. Their triumph is only going to be for a little while. They only have a short while. What's another one? Psalm 34:21. Evil shall slay the wicked. The things that they're doing, it's going to work against them. They're not. It seems like they're in control, but it's not. What they're doing is going to work against them. And the last verse that I wanted to share is Psalms. Yeah, let's go. Psalms 92. See, Psalms 92, verse 7. Let me turn to that real quick. Psalm 92, verse 7. What does it say? When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. So yeah, they're showing they're being able to flex. They're showing the strength that they have and what they're doing, that this targeting, what we're dealing with, these protocols, that it's right now, it's limited to us. But as they begin to grow in strength and become even more unified, and this is going to become for many people the order of the day, especially for those who they are threatened by, especially for those who will defy them, especially for those who are going to break ranks and who are no longer going to be willing to be a part of that army of spiritual darkness. The protocols that they're doing to us, they're going to start doing it to them as well. But again, as it says, when the wicked spring as the grass, when they rise up, okay, and And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, when they're just flourishing speaks of thriving. Flourishing speaks of where they're just having such success, and it's just so amazing. You just see what they're doing. Everybody can see it. They're flourishing, and which is what you get this feeling as if, whoa, they're able to do all this. This is so wrong. It's so hateful. It's so cruel. There's nothing moral about this. Yet they're able to do it and get away with it. But what is he saying? He's saying literally the only reason that it's happening is, quote, is that they shall be destroyed forever. It's going to be held against them. It's going to be used against them. Everyone that they're hurting, everyone that they're oppressing, all of us when they're entering into our homes and moving things around, creating so that we can doubt our reality. And why is this over here when I left the house it was over there? When they are creating problems with us at work, when they are doing the noise campaigns, when all the things that they're doing to us and to others, it's all going to work against them. And so that's where we can get the strength from the comfort that the Most High gives to the righteous, that he gives to those who love him and who keep his commandments, who are striving diligently to spread his word, to spread this good news. We get a comfort, we get a peace. As it says, when our mind is stayed on the Most High, we live in a perfect peace. And that is why those messianic TIs, those of us who are doing that, we are in a place of peace. This supercomputer, as she calls, we know what's going on. He's the prince of the power of the air, be it a supercomputer or whatever. There was no supercomputer going on, operating across the face of the earth during the days of Job. There was no supercomputer roaming, had control of everything during the life of the Messiah. But what did he brag to the Messiah? He showed him all the kingdoms of the world, and he said, all these are mine. Okay, so we know that this is the order of the day. But in terms of eternity, this is a short time. It's a short time. This is just a few blinks in terms of eternity. And I think that for those of us who understand that eternity is more than a word, okay, then this becomes a bit more bearable, a bit more, we can endure it more, because we have a faith that we know that this isn't the end all be all. This is just for a short time. And I hope that she is able to hear this commentary, because when I heard it, I just felt moved in my spirit to say something. And so I did. And again, it's probably going to put me in the crosshairs, but the only other thing that I wanted to say, okay, see, here I go. I'm going to do one more scripture, and then I promise this is the end. This is the last of this commentary, and that's going to be, let's go to Peter. Specifically, let's go to 1 Peter. Let's go to 1 Peter. 1 Peter, it's after, let's go to Hebrews, yeah. 1 Peter chapter 4. Starting at verse 12, Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. There it is. Okay. And with that I say shalom.